Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's read. This is on YouTube channel James 13 Wicca. I'm going to put the dice and the card information below that I'm going to be using for this set. That way you can easily find it. Also, if you're anywhere near Herkimer, New York, I'm offering some live readings if you're interested. That should be below too. I should have added that by now. There's info below on how to get a reading from me on here, and I'll get the email up here too. So if you'd like an email from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. That being said, let's go ahead and get into your reading. Hello, Capricorn. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Capricorn? There was like a really strong jump forward there for a second. That was interesting. Is something trying to change? I think something's trying to change, but it may be with very good respect to the way you accept change. So like Earth in general will change, but it's got to make sense and it's got to be over time. Like, you know, typically that's Earth, typically. Earth isn't completely against change, but it's like it's got to make sense and we got to test it and make sure that it's actually going to hold water and it's going to be better than what I already have. All those things are met. Let's give it a try. Yeah, you got it. It's especially because this is your card. In the Zodiac or in the tarot, the Devil card is the Capricorn card. Talks about boundaries. Talks about strict boundaries that, you know, are not very well. If somebody breaks those rules, it's not going to be looked at very nicely. That's what that says. we adhere to the rules. We respect the rules. And somebody is ready to change and moving it forward and trying to do it in a way that's respectful to you. Now, I cringe at that only a little bit because I feel like when you look at it on paper and where it's going and how fast it's going, I feel like that part's respectable. The way they're communicating with you, I don't know. But if you look at it on paper and like what's actually happening, I do feel like it matches. I don't know about the literal communication they're having with you though, so take that with a grain of salt. Whatever it is, you're also used to whatever's going on here. So I almost feel like some people, like you might be getting this information and people are like, they might be a little bit sarcastic or a little bit condescending when they're saying it. But how it's actually coming together it's compatible with the way you like things done. I don't know, because I keep getting this weird, like, the way it comes in, just, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like I have a little chagrin about it. I'm like, I don't know. And how is this? It seems other people are thinking it's random. It's not. Other people might have had no idea where things were going, but you might also notice whoever's making these changes set you up for this to be more comfortable for you. That random energy, that's... I almost feel like maybe letting other people in on what's going on. That might be random. You might know this stuff ahead of time. You might have the in on this. Somebody knew that if they wanted your support, they needed to kind of give you a heads up. And I also feel like they might have said, you know, all right, I'm telling you this, but not everybody needs to know this, so you need to keep it to yourself. It might have been one of those. And I feel like, well, if that's what helps me, you know, get this going the way I need it to go, I guess that's the rules of the game. There's something random with it, but I feel like when I keep seeing that Two of Wands and the random energy, other people might think it's more random than it actually is. Other people might be thinking you're going to have a hard time with this, but when you're not, they might be kind of like, that's interesting. Because I get that things are going to work for you. Somebody needs your help, and they know that if they want your support in this, there's certain rules that have to be met. Doesn't matter if they like those rules or not. That's another level. That might be why it comes forward a little sarcastically or condescendingly. These rules are not negotiable. You are who you are, and you're also very dependable, and I feel like Capricorn, when you're in your zone, high quality. I think of Capricorn as high quality. When you're in your zone, high quality. This is my thing. This is how it's done. It will be done right, and that's how it goes. And I feel like that's one of the reasons, big reason, like we need this to go correctly. And if I get Capricorn on board and I get Capricorn ahead of the game and I let Capricorn know things and everybody can know, Capricorn can not only make peace with it, but set it up to do it in a way that will satisfy and sustain success down the road. Okay. This is taking you into another level here. This energy, I don't know what to make of this energy because it has its way of communicating. And if you can get around that, I'm not saying it's acceptable. I'm not saying you should accept anything either. I'm just saying if you can find a way to work with it, it can work to your advantage. That's all I'm saying. Because it's like going across this next level and kind of going with the way it goes. I don't know, I cringe at this because I feel like if somebody's constantly negative towards me in a certain way, I feel like I don't like that. I don't really like accepting that. But it's almost like in the same tone, it's kind of like it is what it is. It's the nature of this beast. And it's kind of like I could try to make that a situation, but it's going to cost me this. It's like if I make that a situation, it's going to cost me this over here. So I guess I have to pick and choose my battles on this one. Although Capricorn does have a pretty thick skin when they want to, and if you've decided like that's who they are, I'm not going to let it bother me. That's a them problem. I'm just going to take the information I need from the conversation, and I'm going to disregard their little attitude issues. If you're able to make that, I keep going under it. I'm noticing I'm able to go under that and get around it. It's a perception thing. I found that I've had to do that in my life a couple times. I'm not a Capricorn, not an Earth sign even, but it's just kind of like seeing somebody for the problem that they are and deciding I'm not going to take what they say personally because they just like to treat people badly. And it's almost like realizing it's clicking like in your brain a little bit, kind of like they don't care that they're upsetting me. They just like upsetting people. That seems to be like their shtick. And if I just don't get triggered by it, I become boring to them, and it just stops mattering. It's just kind of like, oh, that's what they are. It's kind of like somebody who has that really loud voice and it's obnoxious, and you're just like, they're not doing it to annoy me. That's just who they are. They annoy a lot of people, and there's no fixing it. It just feels like there's no fixing it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's when you step back, look at the big picture, and you're like, this isn't a thing against me. This is just who they are, and they just... Anybody they can get the better of, that's what they try to do. It's kind of like realizing that and just kind of like, I'm not going to play that. There's no winning in that. There's no reason to get upset about that. They're just who they are. If you're able to do that, because I see you trying. I see most of you because of the success that comes with it. I see you trying. You're making the effort. It's a mental position. It's a viewpoint that I don't feel, I don't know, you have to consciously go into it. Because most of us, I feel like people say stuff to us and it just kind of lingers there every now and then, and just once in a while it just kind of comes to the surface. Your natural energy will just try to like not let it bother you, and it'll just resurface later. The way to get around that is literally to see it as a them error. There's people that I don't like in my life that I forget all the stuff that they do that annoys me. And the reason I forget it is because it's kind of like, oh, they screwed it up again. It's Tuesday. Like, sorry, I am definitely that one. Like, I just, at a certain point, it's just like, well, they did that. Well, shock. Like, oh, they did. That's the death card in this situation. kind of like, it's literally them. It has nothing to do with you. It's realizing whether you're there or not, this person's going to find somebody to do this to. There's like, I don't know, like I use Paul McKenna books. If there's one of those that look good to you, try that. He's a British author. I'm sure there's a lot more gurus that do those type of things too, but it's one that I've used. It's realizing that it has nothing to do with you. You take yourself out of the picture. It's almost like watching other people get the same treatment, or taking yourself out of the picture and replaying the same scene with somebody else there. Or, you know what I mean? And realizing they may say it a different way, but they still do it to somebody else if they had the chance. It's realizing that stuff. It is possible. It is possible to do that with this situation, because it's a no-win is what I'm getting. If you're able to do that, this can go extremely well for you, because you're not going to forget the essentials. If somebody screws up your physical workflow or something that you're actually working on or causing you damage with some type of social connection, you will not forget that. I don't think we need to worry about that. But like taking every little thing personally from somebody who's just, they like getting somebody, they like tweaking somebody, like poking somebody, that's going to cause you damage down the line. And it's like when you shift over to that viewpoint, it's like, oh, it never was a me problem. It's a them problem. Let them be a problem for somebody else. And it's like completely like I said, there's people in my life that I don't care for, but I forget all the bad things that they do because I'm just like, well, it's Tuesday. They got out of bed. I'm sure they screwed that up. Like, I don't know. I am definitely that one though. And I don't get offended anymore. I'm just kind of like, it's a no fixer. It's a no fixer. It's a no fixer. Sure. Can't, as they say, you can't polish a turd. So I don't worry about it. I'm not in the business of trying to polish turds, you know? And I don't get upset about them either. If you're able to do that, things are gonna fly. There's a lot more success coming in for you. This Queen of Wands is interesting because I feel a really strong level of success with that. What does that mean? Because I feel like if you're able to do that, other people kind of notice. All right, it's gonna go halfway across the world. It's hard not to do it, to get caught up in things. Okay, because they're reminding me, this is how this started. You'll constantly have the in. You'll constantly be ahead of the game. The same person, I feel like if you're non-reactive especially, I just feel like they keep saying things the way they're going to say things, but you're constantly ahead of the game. It doesn't mean this person is right. It doesn't mean they should be allowed to treat you the way they are. But it's almost like letting the situation work to your advantage and just like omitting. I remember when I worked on the phone years ago, sometimes people would start conversations. I worked for a financial institution, so they were upset before I even answered the phone. Had nothing to do with me, and I knew that. But the four little words would fly, and this and that, and when you were figuring out what actually happened, the four little words would fly, and you get some personal insults, and it would fly right at me. And I just remember thinking to myself, this person has no idea. They have my first name, that's it. They have no idea who I am. And I would just literally ignore all the foul language, like they didn't say it. And I would just keep going and get things taken care of. It did diminish it to a point usually, but it also got me through the call a lot quicker, and I didn't have to deal with it half as much. It also stopped bothering me at some point, which I still question if I went numb or if I just got used to it, or if it just like, I don't know if I might have went numb to it, just to be fair. But I got out of that. I got that job to do what I want, and I also didn't stay in that job forever. But still, this will bring you into a new level of success. You'll constantly be ahead. You might go numb. Is that a thing? Like, I don't know. I'm like, will you go numb to it? It's kind of like, it's not worth my time, so I'm not going to react to it. That dice likes to go all the way over there. It's kind of like, you're going to have to, okay, I feel like that's why it keeps coming over to this side of the table. You're constantly going to have to keep yourself in check. It's not, I don't know about going numb as much as like every now and then something's going to be like, oh, they said what? And you're going to have to kind of pull it back and put it in check and sort it out if you don't want it to overtake the situation. Once in a while, I feel like you will end up saying your piece one way or another anyway. but it's still like you deciding to disconnect after that, and constantly doing that work to like realize it's a them problem. It's never, I just feel like when this reading is coming through, it's never a you problem. It's always a them problem. And if I can successfully navigate them, I can work around them. It's just finding a way that it doesn't bring your energy down. Because I know that Capricorn can have that straight face and deal with it to a point. But like it will fester and build if we don't find a way to kind of vent that energy out. And it's almost also realizing, as long as you're able to do this, the ball stays in your court. The control stays actually in your court more than not. And it's just not letting this petty energy get the better of you. All right, I think we're good. It could branch off into other things afterwards, but I feel like you have to get that far first. Because I'm seeing all this, like, you might have contracts, and, like, you might actually get locked into this situation. You might actually, if this is a job situation, for example, some version of a promotion might come of this if you're able to successfully navigate this. Because I feel like I got this before. I was going to let go of it and kind of just let it go, but they're saying people will notice if you're able to work with this person, because other people don't, they just can't. I just feel like there's other people who just literally can't do it. It drives them mad and they just can't do it. You not only getting the success of being ahead of the game, but also people will look at you like, I don't know how Capricorn tolerates that person, but they do, and they make it a success. You make a very positive impression on other people, and it may move you ahead. If it's not a work situation or a social situation, it may put you in a position that's more comfortable or where you have more control. So it doesn't have to be a work thing, obviously, but you know what I mean. That might also come of this. I'm glad I didn't like miss that part, because I feel like that's very important for this too. All right, I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.